Hello, fellow monkeys. Welcome to the channel. This is gonna be a spiritual channel, so you either love it or hate it, I guess. I want to talk about in this video my journey so far, and what has definitively changed for me, and the difficulties I've gone through since my first psychedelic experience, which was a little over a year ago. Everybody, always talks about on YouTube or on forums or in person how amazing psychedelics are, and they're right. They are amazing. They're the most amazing thing in this universe. But if you're using them to improve yourself, then it's not just like you take them and then you're a better person. There's a process, and it's hard work. Many shamans from the Amazon and many people who've gone through the journey say that it gets better before it gets worse before it gets better. So, and I can attest to that. It got worse before it got better for me. So hopefully what I can do is I can provide some, my journey can help somebody who's going through, maybe it's getting worse, maybe you're getting unhappier, you've seen the beauty of life but from these psychedelics, but still it's not applying to your life yet, and if you're like me, then you probably like lost faith in psychedelics. You're like, this has ruined my life, you probably said that. I said that many times. So I guess my goal is to point out that there's light at the end of the tunnel. It gets better, it gets better, it gets amazing. This transition period that you may be going through is necessary. Your old self is dying. This isn't just like an ego death thing that you hear about. This is literally your personality, your beliefs, they're all dying, and that takes time. You're going to be reborn, and when you're reborn, you'll be a better person. So I guess let me just talk about who I was before my first psychedelic experience. So I was a atheist, agnostic type. I was completely, logic was the only thing that I valued, I guess. I needed everything to be explained perfectly. I needed to have complete comprehension of the universe, and that meant things that we could measure, things that we could tangibly see. I had no time for any spiritual type thing at all. Spirituality was, in my opinion, nonsense. I was a skeptic. Anybody that I would any position anybody had, I would argue against that position. I would say how that position is wrong. So I can go into a whole video about who I was beforehand, but that's just an idea of who I was. I was somebody that did not value people. My best friend was my computer. So, all these types of things that tend to happen to somebody that is, isolated from people and grows up in this society, which is a perfect storm for developing somebody that's completely disconnected from the spiritual world, completely disconnected. Definitely had zero spirituality, zero religion, zero anything. Now, I'm not saying religion is good. I hate religion. I still hate religion. But I had nothing. I mean, I was just, all I was thoughts, So, the spiritual journeys I've had, the psychedelic journeys I've had, I should say, were, of course, earth-shattering, And to this day, I still fight with the faith thing a little bit, you know, the faith in psychedelics, that this is the truth, because I've been brainwashed by society for so long, you know, 18 years. 18 years of just 18 years of being told only one way of living, you know, and the older you get, the more that those years just pile on, and the more that your beliefs get set, you know. So, you know, it's a terrible thing, because you can easily fall into this trap of Western society. So I had my first experience about a little bit over a year ago. It was ayahuasca. You know, that was I can go into that, you know, the actual journey. I have had 2 ayahuasca journeys, and then I've had about 12 other psychedelic experiences on top of that, I'd say. So, and it's been, like I said, a little bit over a year. So, what happened though? Like, what happened to me is, first, I was completely confused. And maybe I'm saying this because I'm hopefully, you know, maybe you're going through these similar things, and maybe you're thinking, maybe you're at the confusion stage right now. There's different stages. For me, I had this confusion stage, and that was marked by these 2 separate things. There's me that's been living this way my whole life through Western society, and then there's this injection of like injection of truth by psychedelics that just completely, they don't merge at all. They're completely incompatible. Only one can exist. And so I was not willing to accept the psychedelics yet, because I've had 18 years of experience that directly counters that. So the confusion phase was me just filled with thoughts, you know, like thinking, just overthinking, confused, not knowing what's going on, all of that stuff. So then I settled down a bit, you know. I sort of, you know, accepted that, okay, this happened, but I'm gonna just continue living my life as normally. But eventually I grew an interest for doing more psychedelics, and through a series of events, I began to become depressed because my value system changed. I previously valued, like I said, logic, computers, science, all that type of stuff, winning arguments, and then I began to realize the truth of who I was. The truth was that I was lonely. My best friend was my computer, and I didn't accept that at the time. The depression came not really knowing what it was, but it was, in hindsight, it was loneliness, because I began to value people more, and I didn't have people. That was the one thing in my life that I was very bad at, was people, was interacting with people, making friends, all those types of things. So I became depressed because I didn't have that, you know. Nothing in my life was getting worse. I was still doing just as well in school and in sports, etc. But I had that gap, that massive gap in my soul that was finally coming out, you know. And it would have come out at some point, you know, if I continued down this materialist path without psychedelic intervention. Then eventually it would have come, and it would have come with a vengeance. But I'm so glad I was able to deal with this before it was too late, you know. So I got depressed, and I was depressed for a good while, you know, 8 months. It wasn't like every day. I'd have good days where I noticed that the best days I had were when it was with other people, and there were times when I went a few days without really talking to people, and you know, I would get suicidal. Some days were much worse than others. I became jealous of the world, became jealous of people that were good at talking to people and that could interact with people. So just a lot of just feeling like shit, you know, just feeling like I was nothing, like I was just a crappy person, you know. I mean, on top of this, I'm also having experiences where I'm seeing, you know, how I've treated people in the past, and the things I've done, and just really illuminating myself and being told the truth of who I was, you know, and depressed me. And then I just recently, on my birthday, had a psychedelic experience that just brought me out of it, man. Brought me out of depression. It's like just like that, you know. Depressed for all this while, and then I had an experience that just like relieved me of all these worries, you know. But I had to go through that. I had to go through all of it. And if you're going through it, I really hope that I pray that you're going to that you get through it, because it might be hard, and I know how hard it is, but everybody that's been on this journey knows that, and everybody I've talked to about this knows that, or tells me that this is an inevitable stage. Your old self is dying, and it's gonna be amazing once you get past it. Just keep working, keep grinding through it, keep being your best self, you know. Everybody has their own issue. That was my issue. That was my biggest issue, and it's still something I struggle with, you know. Talking with people, it's not like it's cured, but it's so much better. I'm so much more, I have such a better relationship with my parents, and I seek out people now, and I feel more confident with myself and all those things, and I'm just appalled that these psychedelics are not, that we don't value them in the Western society. There's so many topics to discuss, but hopefully I'm gonna leave it at that for now, and again, my message is that if you're going through a rough period right now, it will get better. It will get better. I promise. Keep working with these substances. Keep, you know, talk to as many people as you can and work these things out. I know the best thing that helped me was just discussing my problems. I discussed them with my parents mainly, because they also are going on their own journey. If you can find anybody to talk about this stuff with, you know, do it. Anyway, guys, peace out. I'll be back with another video soon. See ya.